Hello, who's up to playing some video games? I mean, only if we go to this journey together. As you can imagine, even though I've been playing them for more than 20 years, I suck at them. Either by parents or some random stranger that magically knows better than me. I got lectured how much time I waste playing games. Even my ex once told me, "Are you gonna still play those when you're like 40? She's an ex now. Anyways, not until recently I didn't have strong arguments to defend my gaming habits. Now I want you to equip yourselves with those arguments against boomer attacks. Video games are the ultimate entertainment media. For years, it was Hollywood or major TV channels that dominated this space. But now, video games have suppressed them. For example, total United States revenue of released movies in 2022 was about $7.4 billion, while video games hit $56.5 billion. That is a very clear indicator of their popularity. But are they really more beneficial than terribly written TV shows or 726 remake of a Hollywood movie? Obviously yes for us. We only need to prove it to the non-gamers. I will do it by giving examples of games that affected my life and thinking. We can judge them by how fun they are, while how much they have taught me. There are other aspects like their artistic value or innovativeness or their impact on economy, but I will skip those. Particular games that come to my mind in a chronological order are SimCity 4, Portal 2, Europe Universalis 4, Cities Skyline, and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. I can't think of a reason why I chose those, but apparently they hold a special place for me. Also, there is a final entry to the list, oldest one actually, which I will be revealing at the end. Without further delay, I'm jumping into the first game, SimCity 4. In fact, because of their similarities, I will also go over Cities Skyline together with it. SimCity 4 got released back in 2003 by EA and developed by Maxis. You might ask how an EA game left good memories with you, but you should note that EA didn't have the reputation of a potato back in 2003. It is a beautiful looking city building game that has enough mechanics to engage you for hours. The most dramatic part for me though happened when I realized how bad I was at this game. As you can guess, I believed I was a special and super smart kid that is one day will become someone that is important like a CEO or president of a country. SimCity humbles you as you witness your failure to manage a pixelated town of 5,000 people where they talk an incomprehensible language, but I am sure they weren't saying nice things when I messed up the weather and the electrical supply for 5 months. After EA ruined that series for everyone, we got Cities Skyline to humble us in terms of city management skills since 2016. Developed by Paradox, it has much deeper mechanics and constantly updated by the developers or by the amazing modding community. 10 years after playing the SimCity, I should be much smarter, much more developed with my amazing education, so let's build a great city there, right? Here comes the second level of humbling, as I end up spending 5 hours to make an intersection work. Anyways, those sim games are great to show you the level of planning that is needed to make something work other than keeping tidy notes. Next game I want to talk about is Portal 2, released by Valve, which by the way, believe it or not, is a very good game developer. It is an old game dating back to 2011, but to this day I don't think we'd still have a competing puzzle game, which is a shame since it is the only genre that I am actually good at. Although it is a puzzle game, there is a very fun story to follow and the mechanics allow for a very creative gameplay. I mean, it is quite obvious that a puzzle game is beneficial for one's brain, but most of the time we see two-dimensional puzzles that doesn't have movement. However, in Portal, the implementation of three-dimensional space with an emphasis on players' momentum makes it much more engaging and sometimes challenging than the puzzles we used to. As a side note, if you ever finish the main story, there's also a free mod available at Steam named Mass Story, which has some of the most challenging levels designed for Portal. It is recommended for people that really enjoy to torture themselves. Moving forward, Europa Universalis 4 is the king of strategy games. Another gem of Paradox released in 2013 and still getting DLCs. It is hard to find another game that has its depth and the amount of detail you have to constantly follow. Can play as a peaceful nation in the middle of Europe that is constantly in conflict, or take a horde nation and raise everywhere to the ground. The possibilities are endless and you can mess anything up unless you are this guy. I was still staying at the university dormitory when me and my best friends became obsessed with this game. Learning its basics to mastering a playstyle even to this day has been most joyful. And on top of that, it taught me more history than years of school. You see, it is cool to know which battles has happened between France and England during 17th century, but why did those happen is a whole another question. During your time with Universalists, you see your economy collapsing, you see revolts happening left and right, you see your neighbors preparing to invade you and realize the war is inevitable. With all those, it gives you a new perception of history where you don't just get facts, but appreciate the reasons why someone might think it's a great idea to try and invade Russia. We have arrived to the most recent game from my list, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. You might think there won't be much lessons to draw from a Souls-like game, but it is more about a mental state. It was a leap of faith for me to start Dark Souls 3, as everyone was mentioning how hard and how unforgiving those games are, while I had the skill set of a mechanical calculator. However, as I played them, I sensed my mental fortitude and level of concentration increasing. The numerous failures I had never were a problem, as not trying and not pushing forward was the ultimate sin. During my Sekiro playtime, I had never felt stronger going forward, as that game made me actually master a skill to complete it. And finally we are at the end, with the game that I hated, I loved, that made me quit it 3 times, but still go back to it. It is named EVE Online, developed by CCP Games since 2003. I sincerely believe it holds a special place in gaming history, as no other game has been as ambitious as it is in terms of player freedom. It is a spaceship game where the market for spaceships and their parts was controlled by players. You have wars for resources, you have wars for memes, you even have casino wars. To solidify the idea how free are the players, I want to give an example of how pirating works in this game. In the galaxy you move around, there are systems that are classified high security, which means the existence of space police. Those police are invulnerable and punished by destruction if you commit a crime like blowing up a trading ship without provocation. However, that does not really stop pirates, as they design their ships such in a way that their shots one hits those trader ships while moving between trading hubs. Shooting pirate gets destroyed by the police, but another pirate stands by to loot the trading ship and make a quick getaway. It is actually possible to calculate beforehand your losses versus your gains and make split decision to pull the trigger by a risk analysis. You can find in the forums that some traders have been complaining about this, as high security space should be high security and traders should feel safer to keep traveling there. However, devs kept this playstyle alive, as there is also an argument that kind of piracy has helped to keep EVE's economy more balanced. You see, trading and traveling without risk can create an imbalance between supply and demand of goods in the game. And adding all the other complexities of the EVE Online's market, I can easily say, as someone that took Economics 101, this game has taught me more about economy and related human behavior than any of my classes. As I have told you about some of my favorite games, I can finally get back to my point. Which is of course why haven't we seen a new release from Valve besides a game that requires a technology using 7,000 sockets? Wait, no, that wasn't it. Anyways, through my childhood and my adult years, I have learned so much from video games. It could be about the complexities of city management or managing any project that is more complex than the homeworks that I made with beans. Or it could be about absurdity of Europe's history beyond what is told in textbooks. Speaking of textbooks, the game you play can be far more deeper than any classes you take in economics. It can even be about mental fortitude against a seemingly impossible task. I should note it is also up to you to find those lessons. No one can design a perfect game that teaches you everything and be fun. But if you know where to look, you will find one that helps you perfectly. And if anyone out there says the video games are a waste of time, You should now be able to look back at the games you played and confidently point out how much they improved you.